in Massachusetts, a middle school teacher who happens to be Jewish has resigned, saying that the school did not adequately protect him from anti-Semitic comments that a 12-year-old was making against him. This is a student who's now facing a misdemeanor charge of criminal harassment. So look, this is serious. It's already risen to the level of a misdemeanor. So why don't we go over what's actually going on to see if this makes sense? So Robblee is the teacher, told Insider the harassment began in February this year when he tried to quiet his class one day. The child began shouting homophobic slurs and he immediately removed the student from the class. A few days later, Robblee said the student approached him with what he thought would be a written apology, but the piece of paper was actually a violent drawing depicting Adolf Hitler standing over a dead person labeled Jew with swastikas and canisters labeled gas scattered across the page. Insider has viewed the drawing, which featured the words "Sorry Jew" written across the top. I've heard of some bad apologies in my day. This just might be the worst. Anyway, so look, the student, I think, needs to be disciplined. The school should take that seriously. It's not that just making the comments is a lethal threat or anything, but we are looking for warning signs among students. School shootings are not rare these days. This sort of targeted, explicitly violent content should at least bring some attention to it, I think. And I don't think it's unacceptable for a teacher to expect that. Mondale, how do you react to this?
I need to know if the school district has been to these kids' house. This is next level, not normal. The idea that you went so far as to apologize with this painting. This is now. This is something that should be banned from school. This type of behavior, the normalization of this attitude from this child, and we are talking about a child, so keep that in mind. But I'm still thinking, at the age of 12, what are this kid exposed to? And I'm not saying parents create kids in this thinking, because we know influence from children a lot of the time comes from their peers. But there needs to be some investigation into what's happening in this household, because this is next level to me. I'm just thinking about this idea that there was a painting. This child took the time to paint or draw a picture of Adolf Hitler's swastika and the gas. That is some very detailed messaging. And then even the ploy on "Sorry Jew" as if this is an apology, but also something you would hear about the lazy sorry Jews doing the Holocaust. I'm just baffled at this situation altogether.
Yeah, and that you would think that would be acceptable, and providing physical. This isn't just a comment that you could dispute. You're providing physical evidence of your violent anti-Semitism. So yeah, I would talk to the parents. Parents aren't necessarily doing anything. I mean, the thing is, realistically, kids could easily come across tons of stuff like that on their iPad, on their phone. Nazi memes are like they're a dime a dozen. You can find that sort of stuff on any right-wing forum. I'm sure there's major Twitter, like TikTok accounts and people making, viral, like this guy could be being radicalized, in any number of different ways. But again, I think that people need to take it seriously. People need to be checking in. Simply leaving a kid to, develop into eventually a 16-year-old skinhead, probably not in the interests of anybody involved.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.